Most business owners treat owner dependency like a problem they'll fix later, when the business is bigger, when things settle, or when there's a quiet month. What they don't see is that later has a cost. And it's not a one-time cost, it's a compounding cost. Every year it goes unfixed, owner dependency takes something from you. Not all at once, quietly, in ways you don't notice until you add them up. In this video, I want to show you the chain, not to motivate you and not to scare you, just to make visible what's actually happening in a business that stays owner dependent for too long. Because it isn't a stable state, it's a slow drain, and the drain runs in a specific direction. Time, energy, decision quality, team capability, personal life, exit value, and eventually the window to fix it closes. The obvious cost of owner dependency is time. Every question that routes through you, every decision that waits for your input, every client who only deals with you personally. These take time, and most business owners understand that intellectually. But time isn't actually the first thing you lose. What you lose first is energy. Decisions are heavy, not just in minutes, but in cognitive load. Every time someone brings you a problem, you have to hold the context, have to weigh up the options, make a call, and then communicate it. And then move on to the next one. That process doesn't reset automatically. It depletes your energy. And in a business that routes everything through the owner, that drain runs all day, every day. The difference between an owner-dependent business and an optional one isn't how many hours the owner works. It's how many of those hours the owner is spending on decisions that someone else should be empowered to make. Think about the last full week you worked. How many decisions came through you that, with the right frameworks in place, someone on your team could have handled? And I'm not talking about the big strategic calls. I'm talking about the day-to-day calls. The pricing exception, the client complaints, the supplier negotiation, the team conflict. If the answer is most of them, you're not just losing time. You're using the same cognitive resource for everything from major strategy to minor operational calls. And by mid-afternoon, the quality of that resource is meaningfully lower than it was at 9 a.m. The first domino is energy, not time. Time you can see on a calendar. Energy is invisible until it's gone. And when it starts going, the second domino falls. Before we continue, if you want to see exactly where the decisions are still routing through you in your business, I built a free audit that maps it across 12 areas. It takes 5 minutes, it's free, and the link is in the description. Knowing which chain is costing you most is the fastest way to fix the right thing first. When your energy drops, your decision quality drops with it. And this is not a character flaw. It's how decision making works. Decision fatigue is a documented phenomenon. The more decisions you make in a day, the worse the later decisions get. Not because you care less about the outcome, but because the mental resource you use to decide depletes across a day's use. In an owner-dependent business, the owner is making most of the decisions. They're making the operational ones, and the strategic ones, and the interpersonal ones, and the finance ones, all day, every day. Which means by the time you get to the decision that actually matters, the hire, the client terms, the partnership conversation, you're making it with a depleted resource, not a fresh one. And degraded decisions don't announce themselves. They just quietly shape the business. The wrong hire goes a little longer before you address it. The wrong client gets kept for a quarter more than they should. The team initiative you should have approved gets deferred until next month. Here's something I noticed in my own work a few years ago. The decisions I was making at the end of a day were materially different from the ones I made at the start of it. I was saying yes faster, not because the question had become simpler, but because I didn't have the energy to think it through. I was delegating in ways that weren't thoughtful because careful delegation takes cognitive capacity that I'd already spent. And the team picked up on it. Not consciously, but they started front-loading their questions, getting to me early in the day because morning Philip and evening Philip gave very different answers. So more decisions arrived before lunch, which meant I was even more depleted by afternoon. The spiral went down. Degraded decision quality is a structural consequence of owner dependency. It's not a personal failing. The only way to protect your decision quality is to reduce the volume of decisions that route through you. Not by opting out of the business, but by building frameworks that let the team handle the ones they should. When the team can decide, the owner's decisions get better because there are fewer of them, and the ones that remain are the ones worth making. Here's what happens to the team while all of this is going on. Their capability is being capped, not by their talent, not by their work ethic, but by the structure of the business. When every decision routes through the owner, the team never develops independent judgment. They grow in technical skill, yes, and they get faster in their own lane, but their decision making doesn't mature because they've never had to make the decisions. And so you end up with a team that is experienced but dependent. They know how to execute, they don't know how to decide. And the longer this persists, the harder it becomes to change, because the team has learned to wait for you, and you've learned to expect them to. This is the point where owner dependency stops being a business problem and starts being a life problem. Because when the team's capability ceiling is your availability, the business follows you everywhere. The WhatsApp message at 8 p.m., the question that couldn't wait until Monday, the holiday where you were present in body, but thinking about a client situation for the first 3 days. That's not because your team is bad, it's because they've been trained. Not deliberately, but through years of you being the fastest path to an answer, to route everything to you. And the habit is mutual. You've been trained to be available because when you're not, things stall. The personal cost of this is real, and it's cumulative. It's not one holiday, it's every holiday. And it's not one evening, it's the texture and fabric of every week. The team and the personal life are the same domino. What caps one, caps the other. The fix is the same too. Build the frameworks so the team can decide, and the business stops following you when you leave. But here's the part most owners underestimate. Retraining a team that's been dependent for years takes longer than building independence from the start. You can do it. It just costs more time and trust to undo than it would have cost to build correctly. The last two dominoes are the ones with numbers attached. Exit value and the window to capture it. Owner dependency is the primary driver of a low exit multiple. Owner-dependent businesses sell at 2 to 3 times EBITDA. Owner-optional ones sell at 4 to 5 times, sometimes more than that. That's not opinion. That's what buyers pay and what they discount. And the longer the dependency persists, the harder the gap is to close, because the business has been built around the founder, around the owner, in ways that become increasingly structural. The client relationships are personal. The knowledge is undocumented. The team has never been tested independently. The systems are thin. Buyers see all of this in due diligence. They ask the questions, and then what they uncover and what they see, they discount. Not because they're trying to take advantage, because they're pricing the real risk that the business doesn't function the same way once you leave. There is a window for fixing this. While you're healthy, while the business is growing, while the market is good. When all of those things are there, you have the ability to restructure. You can transfer relationships while you're still in the room. You can document knowledge while you still have the energy. You can build team independence while there's time to do it carefully. That window isn't permanent, not because of anything dramatic, just because the conditions change. Energy drops over time, market conditions shift, the team turns over, a competitor does something that makes the timing worse. And a health event changes the equation completely. And suddenly you're trying to fix 10 years of dependency in a 6-month pre-sale sprint with a team that hasn't been built for independence and a buyer who can see the gap. The owners who get the best exits, and I've spent a long time looking at the deals where it went well and where it didn't, they started early. Not because someone told them that they had to, because they understood that the gap between what they built and what they could sell wasn't going to close by itself. The dominoes run like this. Owner dependency drains your energy. Depleted energy degrades your decisions. Degraded decisions cap your team, and a capped team brings your business into your personal life. And all of it together, the undocumented knowledge, the personal relationships, the dependent team, the thin systems, they all erode the exit value. The window to fix it is open right now, not forever. Owner dependency isn't a crisis, and that's exactly why it's dangerous. A crisis gets addressed. This gets deferred, year after year, until the situation has run far enough that the fix is harder, more expensive, and less certain than it would have been at the start. The audit won't solve it for you. Nothing solves it except the work of building a business that doesn't need you to be there for it to function. But knowing which chain is costing you most is where the work starts. The 12 Chains Audit maps exactly where your business still depends on you and which dependency in a chain is currently costing you the most. It's free, takes 5 minutes, and the link is in the description. If you found this useful, there are more videos like this on the channel about owner dependency, business systems, maximizing your exit value. Subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.